Hello and welcome to Noninkables. We are on episode number 4, season 2. This is the first week of set championships. And look at the scar card. It's so beautiful. It does look like it should be an emerald card because I feel like it's mostly emerald, even though it is technically a ruby card. And then I was the second place runner-up. I do kind of like this map better, but I mean, I did try my best to get the champion map, but didn't happen. Okay, so this weekend we played in 2 set champs, one at Games of Berkeley on Saturday, and then today at Victory Point Cafe, also in Berkeley. And so those were the 2 we played at. I think during the week we didn't play in any locals, just pretty much played in more Camino to practice and did good. So I did get more serious about my practicing this week. So I started taking notes again. So it literally is like my deck that I was playing, which version, and then who I played against, and then if I was on the player of the draw, and then if I won or lost. So I was practicing with green steel because Tyler convinced me that green steel is good. And so I was trying to kind of figure out how to play because I feel like green steel is a deck where like every set you look at it and it looks very similar, I would say, every set, but it's a steep learning curve. It feels quite a lot like when we did red-blue items. And you look at the deck and you're like, oh, I just play a bunch of items, but it's a steep learning curve. So I like make a little bit of notes. So like, for example, one of the decks was like a blue steel deck and they didn't ramp. It was just Alice with Dwarf Mine and like a lot of Ward. And then I'll also write down like where I misplayed. So like I played red, purple and lost. I got O2'd. And in one of them I said I misplayed. I said I quest and Pluto, not sing and kill Flynn. I don't know what that means. I think I was supposed to kill Flynn and not quest Pluto or something. And then another one, maybe a misplay. I played 2 characters instead of just playing the one beast. And then like another game I played against Amber Steel. I won 1, I lost 2. And I just wrote down well-timed, a whole new world plus a Pete. I think whole new world to me, they played a bunch of characters, including a Pete. So then I couldn't get rid of any of their characters. And then I played against a Mufasa deck with Cinderella. And I wrote Muses Clutch, which means I was playing a version with Muses. And then there's one where I just wrote so many misplays. Didn't protect Ursula 3, mine version. It was against an Amber Steel. And then I have like other notes. I played Emerald Sapphire deck. Game 1, I said it glitched. I played a 2-drop and then it like synced and the 2-drop didn't actually play and I accidentally like clicked too fast and passed my turn. So I basically inked and didn't play anything on turn 2, even though I had 2 drops. And had I played that, I think I was going to play a Smee. So that was all the lore I needed to win that game. And then the second game, they just kept playing You're Welcome and bouncing my stuff and then like clarabelling. And I just got annoyed and I quit the game. I was like, I don't want to waste my time playing this. This is just annoying. I have one where I played a red-purple. I think the first game I lost. The second game, I shifted a Diablo and they immediately just quit and went to the next game, which I won. And then there was one I played against Blurple where I lost and I choked at the end. Like I think I got to 18 or 19 lore and I couldn't end the game. And so after that, I, of course, messaged our group and was like, how do I beat Blurple? And then I had another game against a blue steel player and my go-go wouldn't trigger. And I like tried to reset the turn twice and it still wouldn't trigger. I wanted to go to manual mode. I typed in the chat, free text, explained the situation, was like, my go-go's not triggering. And basically, I just need to trigger my go-go, quest my Prince John, and I would win. And my opponent refused to let me go to manual mode. Even after I explained it, I reported the bug, and then I requested to cancel, and they let me cancel. So at least that. But I was like, why wouldn't you just let me go to manual mode? I'm explaining what the thing is wrong. Like, what's wrong? Yeah, and that was the main things. So first day, Saturday, we went to Games of Berkeley. I registered appropriately this time. If you remember from last set champs, I had only registered on Melee and didn't realize I had to buy a ticket on their website. So this time I bought a ticket on their website. So it was actually registered. It was sponsored by Jesbian again, one of her friends. Also sponsored by, oh no, I'm going to forget the name. this really cool like local artist that makes like these leather deck boxes, which was one of the prizes you could win. And then because it was like their first anniversary of Lorcana, they also gave out some extra prizes. So they gave out like a coaster that says Lorcana League, first anniversary. This is like the Games of Berkeley symbol. And then the back had the Lorcana thing. They gave out these tins that also say like founding member. And they had a like surprise dice. So I think both Brian and I in our tins, we got 2 dice. And then I know these kind of look like they glow in the dark. Do they? They don't. They don't glow in the dark. And then some of the tins had like a full set of, I don't know, whatever the D&D full set dice is. And then we also got these patches that are leather, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, we had the raffle that Jasmine always do. So you get 1 raffle ticket per game win. It's best of 2. We played 6 rounds, and you can win things like the popsicle. You can win things like stickers. You can win more raffle tickets. They also had these like temporary tattoos, which I think are super cute. And yeah, those were the prizes. And I kind of took notes this time. So I do want to go over my record. So for both days, I played Green Steel, like slightly modified from Zan's version. Really, I played Tyler's version. So Tyler's on our team, Botsu. I played his version. He convinced me that Green Steel is the best deck. And so that's what I played. And it worked out pretty well. I had played his deck in the last day of the LCQ stuff, so on Sunday, and I had gone like 2-2-1 with it, which is pretty good for the first time playing the deck. And that's what I've been practicing. And so on Saturday, I took a version that was no muses, no hypnotize, but instead had like, we don't talk about Bruno. It had a Cricky, it had a Doc. And then today I took the version with muses and hypnotize. And I think I like the first version a little bit better, but maybe I will kind of make my own version that's kind of like a combo of the two. So, we also got these little score pads. Everybody got one at Games of Berkeley. I like that they're very small. So they let you record up to 3 games, and they're like Post-it notes, but more importantly, they fit in the deck box. And so they don't take up extra room. So let's get started. Games of Berkeley, round 1, I played against, says red purple, which I'm sure I was more correct in the moment, but in my head I thought I played against red blue. So I played against red purple against Andy. First game I went first and I lost. I got to 11, he was at 13, and then I couldn't do anything after that. Second game I also lost and got to 17, and then just nothing after that. And the way Games of Berkeley works, they have like the main room, and so there were a bunch of tables there. There were 39 people for that, but I think 2 people didn't show up, so it ended up being 37 people. And then they had like a back room, which were like the lower tables, like the higher number tables. And so we were joking that like it was like the room of all the losers. And we're like, we need to form a support group back here for all the losers. So I was already in the back. I started in the back room. Second game, still in the back room. I played against Brandon, who was playing Amber Steel aggro songs, kind of. I was on the draw the first game, and I won. He got to 18 lore. I was at 15, and then I was able to control and win. Second game, I was on the play, and I won. He only got to 7, and we both had really, really weird hands where I think we both didn't play anything turn 1. And then it was just like our decks were not decking, essentially. So I 2-0'd him, and that got me out of that back room into the front room. And I was like, yay, I'm now with the winners. In my third round, I played Levi, who we play a bunch. And he was on red blue. And I think his last round was pretty traumatic. He lost, and he sat down and he was just like, destroy me, please, so that like I won't feel so bad about losing the previous round. And I said, I'll do my best. And my deck really was doing its work. So first game, I won. He only got to 4 lore total. I think I had a merfolk out. Second game, the first game I was on the draw. Second game I was on the play. And I won again. I got to 17 lore. He only had 1. So really, really crushed that red blue. I just went super aggressive. Played my merfolks, played my smees. And then in the 4th round, I played against red purple. Who did I play? That's the question. I don't remember. Let me take a look. 4th round. You'd think I would remember, but I feel like I've been doing so much thinking that my brain is dead and I can't remember. Okay, round 4. Round 4, I played Jun. So apparently he went to high school with Briguy and they were in band together. And I was like, that's cool, like a high school connection. And he also went to Cal the same time we were both at Cal. And so round 4, I played against red purple. First game, I was on the draw and I lost. I got to 16 lore and he was at 3. And then I just couldn't, I think I just got wiped out. I couldn't close the game and he got to 20 and I couldn't get any more lore. Second game, I was on the play and I won. He only got to 9 before I won. And then round 5, I matched into Jesbian, who was playing hyper aggro, her fave as always. And I was like, this is why I didn't want to play red blue, because I know eventually I would match into Jesbian. And so I didn't want to lose to hyper aggro. First game, I was on the draw. And let's see, she played her usual super aggro, whatever. She got to 19. She was at 17. I was at 14. She got to 19 and I was able to hold her at 19, get to 21. Second game, I was on the play and we were kind of like neck and neck. Like she had 4 lore, I had 2 lore. She had 8 lore, I had 4 lore. Then I had 8 lore. So we both had 8 lore. Then we were both at 11. We were both at 13. And then I was able to kind of take control and win. I was able to use a We Don't Talk About Bruno on Baloo, which returns him back to the hand and then discards him, doesn't banish him, so she doesn't get that 2 lore. And I was very excited to do that because I think when I was playing red blue, I was like, what is the let it go for? And they're like, it's for Baloo and like other stuff, but like also for Baloo so that he doesn't get the 2 lore. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, that's what the We Don't Talk About Bruno is for. And she did give me a tip. There was at one point where she said I played the Pete too early because I should just go wide with my board because she's not going to deal with my board and save the Pete for like when gathering knowledge and wisdom would be a problem or bosses on a roll. Jesbian also that day she would play and then she would tell her opponent, you have 3 turns left, which is what she told me. She was basically like, you have 3 turns left before I win. So you got to figure it out, which is funny. And I was like, so glad I'm not playing red purple or red blue. So that was round 5. And then in round 6, I was at the top table. So going into round 6, I played the top person. So Adrian, he had 27 points. Second place had 27 points. I had 24 points. And then everyone below me had 23. And then there were 2 21s who were on the bubble. So if they had 2-0, they would go up to 28 points. And so we were like doing math about whether or not we should draw. Like for him, it didn't matter. He would be in pretty guaranteed. But mine, like, I didn't want the case to be where I would ID and then bubble myself out. But I was also worried, like, what if we play it and then I lose and then I definitely out, right? And then I think I perseverated on whether we should ID or not for maybe, I would say like 3 to 4 minutes. And then I was like, you know what? I was too much thinking. Let's just play. So we played, and first game I was on the draw and I lost. We were kind of neck and neck until like 9 lore, and then I choked and he won. And the second game, I won pretty handily. I don't think he saw any brawls or any Medusas. And so my Diablo survived and I had so many cards. And so even though we played it, we ended up drawing into it. So at the end of round 6, I was 4th going in. So first place was my opponent. Second place was the second place person, Tegan. Yay, Tegan for being second. Third was Brandon, who I'd played like back in round 2. He had he was at 21 points and had 2-0'd his opponent, and so got to 28, and so was placed ahead of me. And then I was 27. I had the best tiebreaker, so I was the top of the 27s. And then also up there were Kevin and Kurt and Charles and I don't know his real name, but it's Jack too. So then going into quarterfinals, I matched into Kevin, who was playing Amber Steele's song. And really, that deck sometimes just beats itself. And so I think I was the higher seed, so I went. No, was I the higher seed? Let me look. I don't want to lie. Yeah, it was the higher seed, and I chose to go first the first game, and like he only got to 6 and I got to 18. And so I think he whiffed on a aerial and just like didn't really see any songs, and then he just kept top decking like daisies or like one drop things, right? And then the second game I was on the draw, and he got all the way to 19 lore and I was at 7, and was able to prevent him from, I just had like all the songs, all the answers, and was able to prevent him from questing anymore, and I won. So that was quarterfinals. And then in semifinals, I met up against Adrian again, who I'd played in round 6, and we had drawn in round 6. And red purple, he was first seed going in, right? And it was very, very stressful, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like panicking. So he was the higher seed, so he went first. First game was so close. So looking at the lore, right, we're kind of like just neck and neck, trading off. The final score I have before like the final score, we're both at 19, and I think I just needed one more turn, and I think he had like a goat or something, and he won. The second game, I was on the play. I won super fast. I went to 20 and he was at 3. I think maybe that was the game. We had no brawls. I'm pretty sure that game I played a Diablo, put it in the cove, and then he couldn't do anything with the cove. And anytime he would try to play a character to deal with the cove, I would just get rid of the character, and then like timed my peats really well and all that stuff. The last game, so the third game, I was on the draw, and we were kind of neck and neck, it looks like. No, not even. So like, because it's like one lore. I was at 3, he was at 2. I was at 4, he was at 3. And then I quested a bunch, got to 17. He was at 4, and then 5. And then I think he had played a goat. And so I let the Storm Rage on the goat to do 2 damage. I played a go-go, got 2 lore, quested a Prince John, and won. So that was exciting. I didn't think I was going to win that matchup. I was like, oh no. And so then I went into finals where I played Brandon. So if you guys remember, I played him in round 2. He was on Amber Steel aggro. In round 2, I 2-0'd him. In the finals, I got 0-2'd so bad. So first game, I was on the draw because he was the higher seed. He won, and I was at 1 lore. So sad. Second game, he won, and I was at 9, so a little bit better. But I think part of it was, I know the first game, I think he played Daisy, and then he played Daisy Lilo. And then he played the bodyguard, Hercules, which is a 3/3. And so then you can't attack anything unless you have a song. And then he also has like the Cinderella 1 singer. So then anytime you try to play anything, he just sings like, and then I would like check his hand with an Ursula too, to make sure he didn't have a song. And then I was like, okay, I'm probably safe to play my Ursula 3. And then he would top deck a strength and then take out my Ursula 3. And there's nothing I could do. And so it was pretty rough, but at least it was over fast. And I got my mat. I got my mat and my card. And so did pretty well. I was like having a moment where I was like, I understand this deck. I get it. And then we were kind of talking about it in our team Discord. And then Tyler sent us like an updated deck that I think is a little bit closer to Zan's deck because it has Hypnotize and stuff and Muses. And I was like, oh, let me try this deck out on Sunday. Okay, so then Sunday at BPC, it was best of 2, 5 rounds. And I was like not so super sure if I was going to make it because I had work in the morning. And I was like, okay, if I finish on time, if I finish early, I can make it. If I can't, then dang it. I do like playing on VPC because it is also a cafe. So there is, with your entry to the competition, you get one free drink. And then you also get, like, this time they did like 10% off food. And they were also doing like 20% off Lorcana products. I didn't buy any, but that was available. And so I just used our gift card. So every time you play in League there, you win like money, essentially, depending on your record. So if you win like 3-0, you get $12. And so we just loaded onto a gift card. So I used that to pay for food. And round 1, I played Amber Steel Thong. And once again, that deck kind of like defeated itself. I played against Megan. And first round, she was on the play. She got to 18. And then I was able to kind of hold her there. I was at 12 at the time. And then I just went super wide and was able to prevent her from getting any lore and then won. Second game, I think her deck kind of just bricked on itself. She was able to get to 11 before I won. I didn't take any additional notes outside of that, so I don't know. Second round, I played Louis on Amethyst Steel. And first game, I was on the draw. I got to 10, and then I couldn't do anything. So I remember my opening hand, I had like 3 sudden chills, a 2-drop Ursula. I think I ended up drawing another sudden chill. I had a 1-drop Diablo. I looked at his hand. His hand was like Fire the Cannons, Genie, Rabbit, Genie. And I was like, okay, what is the point of my sudden chills here? He has all the draw, and so my discard is stupid. I don't want to play that line, but that's all I had. And then the second game, I was on the play, and looks like I quested pretty quickly to 17. And then he kind of stopped me for a while, and he was able to get to 15 before I could quest and win to 21. So we drew. And then the third round, Third round, I played Adrian. So rematch from a rematch of Saturday. He was on red purple, and he crushed me. The first game, I only got to 9. The second game, I think I got to, 10 before he won. I know there was one part where he played like 2 Flynns, and I just couldn't deal with them. And he said he teched in a Maui hook, especially because of my deck, because he was kind of scarred from the day before, which I think is funny. But yeah, I got smoked. And then at that time, I thought I was like doing pretty badly, because then we had like a little lunch break, like a 15-minute lunch break. And I was like, oh, it's probably over, but I'll just play it out. But like looking at the standings, I was at like in 12th place, and everyone was like, why do you think you were doing so bad? You were literally playing at table 4 prior to lunch. And I was like, I don't know, because I lost. But actually it was 12th, so not super bad. That competition at VPC it was only 5 rounds, so we had less people than games of Berkeley. It was, let's see, how many people do we have total? Total, there were 27 people. Is that right? Yeah, 27 people. Okay, so round 4, I played against Clarence, who was on Blurple, and I beat him pretty badly to the point where he dropped after he played me, and then Wiley, who's the tournament organizer, was like, oh, well, there's 20% off Lorcana. Maybe you could open some packs. And he was like, no, I'm not playing Lorcana anymore. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's bad. And I feel like I did the same thing to him last set 5. He was playing, so this time he played Blurple. And basically the first game, he only got to like 6 lore. He like ramped a bunch and then didn't necessarily like draw cards, and so I just discarded his hand, so he had a top deck. And then the next game, I got my muses out because I was playing the muses version, and I would just sing with my Ursula 3 and get rid of like the big characters, and then I would just bounce the like Tipo and the Chernobog. And so it also helped that I asked Tyler, how do I play against Bloodborne? He was like, stick the Ursula 3. They don't really have an answer for that for a while. And I was like, okay, got it. Yeah. And then I think in one of the turns, he could have taken out my Ursula 3, but he took out my Diablo instead. And my Diablos also survived quite a while. So that was also very helpful. So every time he tried to draw for answers, I got more answers. And yeah, set 5, I was playing the item deck, and I did the same thing because he's playing Amber, Emerald, like, where you like make a really wide board and then you under the Yukita and then you under the sea. So he's playing that, and I like ramped to a big sisu and got rid of his board. And I think after that, I 2-0'd him in like construction. He was also like, I'm quitting Lorcana. So I don't know if he's actually quitting because he did come back because he's here today. And then I think the set champs in set 4, we matched in the last round before like top cut. And we both had to 2-0 to make it into top cut. And I won the first game and he made me play the second game. And I won the second game. And that's kind of how I remember him, is that he wouldn't do a gentleman's agreement or a gentlewoman's agreement and made me do that. So yeah. And then in round 5, I played somebody new. I didn't write down his name, but his handle, his melee name, I thought was quite cute. It's called Nerds Next Door. He also had a Powerline mat, which is super cool. I love that movie. And he was playing Amber, Steel, Grow, and I think part of it was like his deck bricked on him, and also part of it was that I knew which characters had shift targets. And so he played the Simba 1-2-drop, I think, that lets you draw a card, discard a card. And I knew he was going to shift it to the Amber Simba that lets you ready. And he also was playing Pride Lands. So I was like, okay, got to take out that little Simba before you can put it in Pride Lands. And then he was also playing Cinderella 1-drop Singer and Cinderella 2-drop draw a card, discard a card. And I was like, oh no, that's going to shift to the big Cinderella. So I took out all the Cinderellas. And so, yeah, that got me into top 8. And then top 8, I matched into Chris, who was playing Green Steel. They were the higher seed. And so they went first. And the first game, they put down a Diablo, shifted the Diablo, put it in Cove. And I had no answers for that. And they won pretty handily, I would say. Yep, I got to 4 lore and they went to 18. Second game, I went first. I played a Diablo. Turn 2, I shifted my Diablo and I played, I think, a Calhoun. Turn 3, I played my Ursula Deceiver of All. Turn 4, I played a Muses, and then they scooped. And we went to game 3, and then game 3, I maybe was a little too bold and I mulliganed all 7 and I made my hand so much worse. I think in my initial hand I had like a Smee and 2 Ursula 2s and a Beast and a Song and something else. I think another song. And then I mulliganed into like 4 songs and a Beast and 2 Beasts and maybe a Pete. And they shifted their Diablo and that survived several turns. And then I was able to get like a Muses out at some point with a Pete. And then it was not great for me. And so I lost in quarterfinals, which totally fine by me. Unfortunately, VPC did not get their pricing, so I don't have my promo card yet. I think it's coming next week. But I got to leave early and go home and eat. So that's exciting. Let's see, at the end of the round, Louis was first, so I played him. He was on Amethyst Steel. 2 was Kevin, who was on Amber Steel, who I had knocked out in the quarterfinals the day before. 3rd was June, who I had also played the day before. He was on Red Purple, I think. 4th was Chris, and they were on Green Steel. They kicked me out in quarterfinals today. I was 5th. Wally was 6th, and he was on Red Blue. 7 was Adrian, who was on Red Purple, and 8th was Megan, who was on Amber Steel, who I played in round 1. Always exciting when there's 2 girls in top 8. And then, let's see, because they're currently, I think they're done. Yep, they're done. So, the person who ended up winning it all was Chris. Yay, Green Steel. So, Chris ended up winning, and Adrian was 2nd on Red Purple. Louis was 3rd with his Amethyst Steel. And Wally was 4th with his Red Blue with like 3 McDuck Manors in there. 5th was Kevin. June was 6th. I ended up being 7th. And Megan was 8th. So a pretty exciting first week. We did it. Bright also went to these set champs with me. So on Saturday, he played the same deck that I did. I actually don't really remember how he did. Let me look. Let's see. He ended up being 20th. Went 114. I think he had some pretty hard matchups. And then today he decided to bring blue steel items, which I think was a little bit too slow for the meta. So it was interesting. So when we played at games of Berkeley, it was a lot of meta decks. So like Amber Steel, there's a ton of red blue. Although I didn't play a lot of them. There was no green purple, which was interesting. A lot of red purple. And today at BPC, there was Blurple, there was Purple Steel, there was apparently somebody on red green, and there was the usual meta decks, and then there was like yellow purple. There was like just so much more variety, which is interesting and fun, I think. And so that is kind of the recap of our week this week. Next week, I'm going out of town to visit my parents for Chinese New Year. And I don't think we're planning on playing in any set champs next week, but we will be playing the week following. So a little break. And it's good to see. I feel like last set, the turnout for set champs was super low. I think nobody really wanted the Mirabelle card or Matt. And this time, there's so many more people, and it's kind of back up to like Ursula's return status. So very exciting. It's also fun to see some of the same people and to reconnect, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I met you like in set 3, set champs or whatever, or I saw your video, which is kind of cool. Oh, I forgot to mention, when we were at Games of Berkeley, one of the guys, I think, got like a gift bag or something, David, and he gave me this cute little like friendship bracelet. It says Brooms, and it has like a Mickey Mouse bead on it. Super cute. Thank you. And yeah, I feel like I love getting the presents. And like when I go to set champs that don't have as many presents, it's like not as fun. Oh, I put all this stuff here so that I would mention it, and I didn't. One of the raffle things you get at Games of Berkeley were slap bracelets, or I think we were calling them like mat holders. So like you put it around your mat. But, you know, being the 90s kids that we are, we definitely slapped each other with the slap bracelet. I mean, they were just different Disney ones. So I got an Olaf. I got one with Belle. How do I make this in focus? What is this one? I got one with Elsa. I got one with, I think Brian got this one. It was Beauty and the Beast with like Cogsworth and Lumiere and stuff. Yeah, so it's always fun when there's more goodies. We also got packs. I think for my packs at Games of Berkeley, I got like 4 packs for the top, for second place. And did I get any good cards? I got a Calhoun. I got a foiled Genie, the legendary one, which is pretty good. I got You Came Back and Gone To. We got a participation pack at VPC, and I pulled an enchanted Wreck-It Ralph, which is very exciting. So that was a great start to the day. And I was like, okay, I'm already winning. I mean, it was after I won round 1, we got that. And so I hadn't lost yet. And I was like, this is a great day. I am winning. I was on time. I didn't have to be late. And I pulled an enchanted Wreck-It Ralph. And then I was like showing other people. And then there was a guy who was like, oh, do you want to trade? And I was like, ooh, what do you have for trade? So I ended up trading my enchanted Wreck-It Ralph, because I already have one, for a Ursula promo. I did have to pay a price difference because the Ursula promo is worth more. But an Ursula promo for set champs, because I think this card is so cool looking. And I want to get, we have 1. So now we have 2. So if we want to play it, we could play an enchanted one, make it shiny. And then in my packs for top 8, I got 2 packs. In those packs, I got a Wreck-It Ralph non-enchanted. So just the legendary. So I guess it was a Wreck-It Ralph day. And then when I pulled the enchanted, I was like, is it too late to tech in this Wreck-It Ralph? Because I see some McDuck Manors around. But we had already submitted deck lists, so it was too late. But I did think about it. So a really good weekend, I think, at least for me, in terms of set champs. And Green Steel, I like the deck. I think it's fun. I do think that every turn is a puzzle. And like today, some of the matches, my deck just wasn't decking. I think when I played Adrian and I got O2, I didn't see a Shift Diablo in any of the games. I didn't even see a 3-cost Diablo at all in any of the games. And so it does sometimes brick a little bit, but I don't think it bricks as badly as Amber Steel, at least not for me. But I think it's a hard deck to play. I have to say there is a learning curve. Similar to the items deck, it's not like a deck you can pick up and just play, but it's fun and engaging. And it's like a different type of thinking compared to red blue, because I feel like when I played red blue, it was a lot of like math and like counting your ink and being like, okay, if I sail, then I can ink 2, so I'll have this much ink and I can do something else, you know? Whereas this one is like, okay, if I, especially like with muses, you're like, okay, I can double sing with Ursula, and then I can trigger muses. I could bounce Ursula back so she's protected, or I could bounce their thing, or maybe I want to sing Let It Go, play Go Go, and then have somebody else sing some like Let It Go again, and then banish them. But I want to make sure I get the Go Go in between. You know, there's like a lot of that kind of logic-y thinking, which I think makes it fun. And I think I will continue to play Green Steel for the rest of this set, probably. Although I am also tempted, since I already have a mat, to just play something completely off the walls. But I don't know. And then, yeah, I will post links to the deck lists that I use in the description if you want to take a look. It's really not anything super exciting, I feel like. And seriously, kudos to Tyler, because he made the decks, and I feel like he was the one who introduced Curse Merfolk. So if you listen to Zan's podcast, he will talk about how he was playing in like Lord Camino, and at the top of the leaderboard, there were some people who were playing Green Steel and playing Curse Merfolk. Those people were Tyler and one of his other testing partners, Ray. And so he kind of got like a secret little shout out by Zan, who didn't even know that that was him. And so like when we played at Games of Berkeley, you have to name your deck, right? So we named it Zan Validates Botsu. And then I think for VPC, I got lazy, just named my deck version 2. But yeah, so a little shout out to Tyler for 1, making the deck, 2, showing me how to play it, like over dinner that day before the Sunday of LCQ. And then also always being available to answer my questions. And I'm like, how do I beat this deck? You said that this matchup is good, but when I play it, it's not good. But yeah, so that is the summary of my first set champs competitions. And I'm probably playing in one more, maybe more, but for sure one more. And that is it. Good luck to everybody out there. I hope you all win everything to your heart's desire. And I mean, with Orkana, I feel like sometimes it's really like, your deck has to do the things that your deck is supposed to do. And sometimes you're defeated not even by your own skills. It's just your deck isn't decking. But also you got to get in a lot of practice, play against a lot of different decks, especially if you play somewhere where people play a lot of homebrew stuff. I feel like sometimes that's harder. And there's so many cards now, it's hard to remember what every single card does. And so I feel like a lot more often now, I'm like, what does your card do? Can I read it? What does that card do? Can I read it? And so it's just a lot of practice. So good luck, everybody. And as always, keep shuffling. Hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-inkables like me. That did happen to me one game. I had all uninkables except for one card. And then I was just every turn, I hope I draw ink. I hope I draw ink. And my favorite saying is to think before you ink. Really think through your turn before you play, because you don't want to look like a fool and be like, actually, can I take that back? So yeah, that's it for me. All right, bye.